Oh, anxiety. I hate you. So anxiety it affects so many people. We don't know why. There's no evidence supporting that doing one thing or another is going to prevent you from having anxiety. Some people have it and some people don't. But I'd say there's a larger portion of people living with anxiety than people living without anxiety. And that's the thing, anxiety has these ranges. It's like you're either super anxious or you're a little bit anxious. I think most people live their life, do everyday things, and they carry this small portion of anxiety. But there are other people who are very, very anxious all the time about very random things. In today's video, I want to talk about how anxiety has been affecting me lately, general anxiety, and how it's specifically been affecting my relationships, what I've been doing to try and help that a little bit. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to welcome those of you who are new. My name is Bridget. On this channel, you'll find me talk a lot about social anxiety in specific, introverts, but occasionally general anxiety and other mental health related things. So if any of that interests you, make sure you go check out some of my other videos. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful or useful, comment below if you'd like to see more from me, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. So let's get into the video. I don't know if it's on getting older or what it is, but I've noticed that my anxiety about certain things has changed over the last couple of years. Things that I used to be anxious about, I'm no longer anxious about, and things that I never used to be anxious about, I'm super anxious about. I don't know what it is. If it's like my fear of I'm getting older and I haven't accomplished the things that I need to accomplish, or if there are like some deeper rooted issues that I need to work through that I know, some of them I know that I need to work through and I'm currently working through them. But so just to give you an example, I used to love flying. As a kid, I loved heights. I loved adventure. I loved doing crazy things. And flying excited me. I love the feeling of taking off on a plane. I love the turbulence. I love the knot in my stomach. And I love landing. And it was just like this great experience you get to have as a kid. Over the past 2 years, I've developed this crazy fear of flying. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. It just one flight I was on. It wasn't even that I had a bad experience on a flight and then I kind of grew into this, oh no, like what if this happened again? It was, I had pretty much smooth flights, but for some reason I just got very, very anxious. Like there was this pit in my stomach and it's right on the cusp of having a panic attack, but it's not quite there. I have to like every single time, or used to, like it's been getting better, I would close my eyes. I'd have to listen to just like breathing sounds in my headphones. I'd have to like grip onto something, bounce my leg when we take off and when we land. When we're at highest altitude, I'm fine. We're chilling because I know that we're good. We're good with air pressure. It's the takeoff and the landing that scares the shit out of me. But I will say the past couple of flights I've been on, I think I may have cured myself. And I think I might know the reason why. I don't know if I want to share it, but there's something about some of these things that make us anxious that we really don't know where they come from. And sometimes some of the things that make us so anxious affect our life. It affects the relationships that we have. There are some times when I don't want to do something, even though it's going to help that person. It's going to help that person, but it makes me so anxious. And even though I'm a people pleaser, I don't do it because sometimes I can't. Sometimes the anxiety takes over. And that's when you know that you need to start making changes. When it's affecting the way you live or the way you used to live. I think there are a lot of points in my life where my anxiety was high or my anxiety was low just based on the situation. And that's just on life. That's on growing and changing and taking on different challenges. when I know that my anxiety is at a high and I need to do something about it, is when I notice that people in my life are getting turned off. For me, relationships are really important. As someone with social anxiety who struggles to make friends, the friends that I do have, the family that I do have, the circle of safe people that I do have is really important to me. So when I notice that my anxiety is pushing those people away and it's making me agitated and on this level where like anything could set me off, I know that something has to give, right? So when my anxiety is high, I often have to take the time to really reflect on what the heck is going on. Asking myself questions like about the plane. Why is it that this is making you nervous? What feeling do you get when you are taking off or when you are landing? What might happen? And if that does happen, what does that mean for you? So I guess I will share with you what I really discovered. I think it was kind of like a fear of, oh no, like what if I die? And although planes are even safer than cars, I heard so many people say that and people trying to help me figure out this weird anxiety thing. I know that. But I think it was just the fact that it could happen. And I don't know, like taking off in a plane is not like starting your engine in a car. It's different. It evokes a different response in you. It does evoke some kind of fear if that deep-rooted fear is death. And one of the two things that people regret when they're dying, when they're on their deathbed, is like not finding a purpose, not finding belonging. And so I think that's something that was really more deep-rooted. Feeling like nothing's going the right way, feeling like I'm not accomplishing the things that I need to accomplish. That deep-rooted fear is making anxiety show up in places where I never knew it was going to show up. And so now that I know it, now that I've asked those deep-rooted questions, I can finally approach it in a way like, okay, this is what's making you anxious about certain things. And when I know that, I can tackle it. Okay, so what can I do to make this better? What can I start doing to put me in the right direction? Or what can I start saying to myself to make it okay, right? There are going to be times in your life, especially like everyone always talks about your early 20s, how it's chaotic and you don't know what the heck you're doing with your life. And I so feel that. Like, there are times often where I ask myself, like, is this the right thing? Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I approaching it the right way? Is this going to be sustainable? All the things. Should I just buy an RV and like travel around the world and just forget everybody? It's like things like that. That is definitely like the epitome of your 20s. So maybe that is where all of these strange fears and anxious feelings are coming from. But that's the thing. Like, now that I know that, I can again approach the situation, ask myself those questions, take time to reflect. That's another thing I like to do when I find myself in more of those high anxiety states. Taking more me time, and not me time scrolling on my phone or binge watching TV, although that's fine and sometimes you need that, but taking more time to go on long walks, listening to a podcast, writing in my journal, drawing or painting, playing solitaire alone. Things that help me and propel me in the right direction, but more so things that are going to allow me time and space to think and reflect and nurture myself in the way that I need to be nurtured. Anxiety is awful, but now I feel like I'm in a place where I know that it is temporary. I know what to do when I am in that high anxiety state, and it wasn't always like that. Life is crazy, and it's always changing. You never know what's going to happen. Things are going to be thrown your way that you're not expecting, which is why you need to let go of some of those expectations that are making you stay stuck and making you think that things are never going to change and you're always going to be anxious and you can't change yourself. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, because I too used to think that like I was always going to be this one way. I was always going to be anxious about this one thing. I was never going to be able to change it, never do anything about it. And that is just so far from the truth. You can be whoever you want to be. You can change whatever you want to change to some degree. But when you tell yourself that you are, oh, I just can't do that. I'm too anxious about that. I won't do that. And you don't do anything about it, that's something that really rubs me the wrong way, because I think it's because I know those people. I know I have those people in my life, and it irritates me because like I get anxiety about some things, like very crazy anxiety, as I just mentioned, that whole plane thing. But I do it anyways, because sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to do the things so that you don't shove those people away. Sometimes you have to do the fearful things so that the right people stay in your life, and so that you don't go crazy, because sometimes that happens. And you just have to know and keep in mind your own values, your standards that you set for yourself, before thinking that you're not going to be able to change. You can change. You just have to know, again, that deeper rooted thought of why this is making you anxious. What other emotions are coming up? You have to break it down, and then you can move through it. And that is what has helped me save a lot of my relationships. And before I knew that, there were a lot of relationships that didn't work out, that I ruined because of anxiety and because of fear and doubt and all of these things. And I regret that so much, which is why I hold that value so strongly, keeping those relationships so close to me and not letting things that I can control get in the way. When it comes to anxiety in relationships, or just anxiety in general, know that there are things you can do. And again, it varies per person, because that's how anxiety works. Anxiety is different for different people. And so if you keep these things in mind, keep my crazy story in mind, and remember the flying in the plane, just know that you'll be able to get to a place where you want to be, or at least get to a place where you're working on getting to a place where you're trying to be. And I know this video was kind of chaotic and all over the place, but I hope you guys understood the real message of it, was that anxiety, sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, but when it starts affecting us in that high in our life, and we know we can change it, we got to do it. So thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys got some use out of it, as always, and I will see you next time. Bye.